Today, the LIV Golf Tour and the PGA Tour are now one. That includes the DP World Tour, who is just reaping the benefits of all of this. And basically, Jay Moynihan said, fuck the players, fuck the fans, I want to get rich.
Welcome back. Some interesting news in the world of golf that may resonate far beyond it to share with you this morning. The PGA Tour and its Saudi-backed competitor LIV Golf, along with Europe's DP World Tour, have agreed to merge. The expectation here is to create a global entity for the game of golf, and the agreement, by the way, I should point out, not yet definitive. It is currently a memorandum of understanding. Would end the hostility between LIV Golf and the PGA. Of course, the two parties have been engaged in extensive litigation. That's all gone. The litigation, no longer. The agreement does call, in fact, for the PIF, which again created LIV, to invest significant capital in this new entity. The PGA, by the way, currently a not-for-profit, is going to contribute its commercial businesses and its rights into what will be this new for-profit company. The hope is to include not just the European Tour, but many, if not all, the other tours as well over time, to create a global entity for golf.
So to me, that's the biggest thing. The PGA Tour is not only working with LIV and allowing the LIV players to come back on the PGA Tour, but they even scrapped the whole legacy of the PGA in terms of it being a non-for-profit organization. The PGA Tour going to a for-profit thing just should tell you basically everything you need to know about the motivations behind what's happening. What it seems like to me is that LIV Tour probably wasn't getting enough credibility as it wanted to, wasn't getting enough sponsorships. The PGA Tour basically had the resources and the tools and the connections to get everything that LIV needed. And LIV had the money that the PGA Tour didn't need by any means, but wanted and could always use. It just seems like the PGA Tour tried for about a year and a half to stand by the values that it's always had. And, you know, the old golfers and the old people will always say that it's a stand-up organization and it just does what it does for the love of golf, but that's clearly not true. And you know, props to LIV for ousting the PGA for what it kind of really is. The thing about it is that the LIV Golf Tour looks better than the PGA Tour right now. The PGA Tour has trashed its players. I don't think the fans really take a big loss here. I mean, it's not like if all this money comes into the PGA Tour that golf tickets are going to be cheaper to events. It's not like we're going to get like a free golf channel. I guess the fans don't really suffer in the sense that now all the players can play together again, and it probably will create a better, more well-rounded product because so much more money is being involved. But the players, man, the players are getting really greased, I think. So the ones that are on the PGA Tour and the ones that stuck it out for the name of golf are just getting a big old fuck you from Jay Moynihan. Jay Monahan, the new golf devil. It's not Greg Norman anymore. It's not Phil Mickelson. It's Jay Monahan.
In addition, over time, the expectation is that billions of dollars will come from the PIF into the new entity to help it develop new areas for the game.
Billions of dollars is so much money for the PGA to get in. Like, what are they going to change? Like, are they going to make, like, even harder golf courses? Are they going to create new golf courses? So those billions of dollars are just going to get shelled out to PGA shareholders that can now get even more money because they said it's for profit.
You both are familiar with, of course, what has been a nasty spat for quite some time, and the players, of course, who branched off, some well-known ones. LIV is run by Greg Norman. That all ends. That all ends. In fact, it's very historic in terms of golf itself, with LIV and PGA merging.
That's amazing. I mean, it keeps coming back to all things sports.
Yeah.
All things sports related. The asset values in some of these areas are so tightly contained, but so dramatic.
And the Saudis have shown a real willingness to want to invest in sports as a global entertainment product, with the expectation, of course, that they will be able to create a great deal of value for for the fund. It's not just golf, obviously. It's whether it's their interest in F1 or WWE or many soccer teams around.
I mean, they really did. Like, the Saudis are doing a good job at this point. Like, Liv is probably the best example of it. But they're doing a good job sports washing. It's working. I mean, they're doing it in soccer. They just got Benzema for a buttload of money. That's going to ruin America's MLS. Like, I don't know how you can't look at least those two examples and say that the Saudis are not winning with their money. The MLS's whole scheme was to grab players that were done from European play and bring them over for a larger sum of money than they would get on their teams because they would be the star. Ronaldo, Saudi. Benzema, Saudi. They took the golf players away and they let the Saudis come into the PGA Tour just to get them back. So the PIF, the Saudi government, is doing a good job of integrating themselves and their interests and their whatever it may be. They're getting what they want out of this whole expedition to insert themselves in American sports and global sports and be a part of the world. Let's read this article. Live Golf is backed by the Saudi Arabia Public Investment Fund, an entity controlled by the Saudi Crown Prince, and has been embroiled in antitrust laws with the PGA Tour in the last year. PGA Tour whined, and they took Liv to court, and it took all this time, and then they said, "Oh, you'll give us some money? You give me some of that sweet, sweet cash? Fuck it. Let's drop it all. I don't give a shit." Liv proved that you could just take a year and people would forget about it and stop bitching and start liking the Live Tour once Fisher's getting on stage and drinking out of a shoe. They said, "Oh, it works? Oh, okay. Well, thanks for proving that it works. Just get in here. Just get in here, why don't you? Why don't you stop doing it over there? Stop working over there. Stop doing a good job over there. Just come here. Come here. Play that new ID, Fisher. Play that new ID. You got me spinning in your PGA Tour." There's much work to do for us to get us from a framework agreement to a definitive agreement. But one thing is obvious. Through this transformational agreement and with PIF's collaborative investment, PIF's sweet, sweet money, the immeasurable strength of the PGA Tour's history, legacy, and pro-competitive model not only remains intact, but is supercharged for the future. I don't know. I thought the tour splitting was honestly creating some pretty good competition, especially in the majors. Like, the regular tour events weren't all that good, but when were they ever? Like, what most of the players on the Live Tour like, aside from the money, is the playing of less golf. I definitely don't see the Live Tour players being okay with doing this and then being told to play more golf. Like, they're not going to... Half the reason I'm sure Brooks Koepka... Well, I won't say half, but a chunk of the reason why Brooks Koepka and those guys went over there is because they could play 10 tourneys a year, they could focus on the majors, and they could play, 3 rounds instead of 4 on a weekend. That's a whole day off. It's a fourth of your time off. It's not like those guys are going to go join the PGA Tour events now. I don't really see where anything really changes if the Live Tour players were still allowed to play in PGA Tour. Probably just going to be less golf. There's just going to be less golf for us to watch because the PGA Tour will probably just pick up the Live Tour's model because they have enough money to do so now. Like, the money, they don't need revenue from ads and from TV deals and all that. They can do less of that because there's billions of dollars coming in.